If you'll introduce yourself and for the record, and the time is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name's Ron Nate. I'm a senior policy fellow at the Idaho Freedom Foundation, and I'm also an economics professor at BYU, Idaho. Here to oppose House Bill 24. The Idaho Launch Program, as proposed, is problematic in principle, in costs, in accountability, and in outcomes. Principles, first of all, every time government tries to fix what it perceives as a market deficiency, it almost always makes things worse. And Idaho Launch is no different. Markets have a great way of redirecting resources to their highest and best use, including workers. If there aren't enough workers, wages tend to rise to attract more workers. Just like the good Senator Lent said, Walmart doesn't find a problem getting its workers. It's creepily communistic for a workforce development council to decide what careers high school students should go for and then use taxpayer dollars to entice them there. It is too costly. $102 million is an outrageously high figure. For perspective, the entire Workforce Development Council budget was less than $6.5 million for 3 years leading up to last year. Last year it blossomed to $34.6 million, and this year adding $102 million is an outrageous increase. The governor is requesting $80 million from the In-Demand's Career Fund to do this, but in other parts of the budget, he is using $75 million of those funds for Permanent Building Fund. You can't spend the same dollar twice. Where are those extra dollars going to come from? This bill lacks accountability. Workforce Development Council are unelected appointees with no oversight. Who watches over them? Who makes sure that the education is what Idaho needs and what the kids need? What if the kids change majors? None of these questions are contemplated. Final point here is the Workforce Development Council is made up of various appointees, many business leaders, a few bureaucrats, and a couple legislative members. When big business dominates the council, directing over $100 million for workforce training, where do you think they'll send the money? This bill is fraught with cronyism. It is a payoff for friends of the governor. Let's not make a mistake about that. Will the Workforce Development Council?
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee, any questions? Okay. Senator Lenny.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Nate, what do you mean by this? The last thing you said, this bill is fraught with cronyism.
Mr. Nate.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Lenny, that's a great question. In the House committee hearing, Representative Blanksma, who was the House sponsor, said, quote, "If Doug Sayer needs some welders, then this bill makes sure he can get those welders." Now, Doug Sayer is a big business leader in Eastern Idaho. He leads Premier Technologies. Premier Technologies donated $2,500 to the Brad Little campaign and over $25,000 just this January to Friends of Brad Little.
Mr. Chairman, I object.
That's good. Thank you, Mr. Nate, for the answer. That's good.
Okay. There are many others on the Workforce Development Council making such donations to Brad Little.
Officer, would you help us? I need you to sit down.
Oh, am I done?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's make no mistake about what this bill is about.